Now that we have the right hand bowing techniques all squared away, we're ready to start with the left hand. I've just been casually mentioning the names of the strings, and I've said nothing about how to hold the violin up. I've just assumed that you were holding it up there somehow to practice all this bowing. But now I want to talk about comfort and form. Many people in the past held the violin very high, but the modern trend is to get in a comfortable position where the left elbow is just against or a little bit off of the body. The violin is comfortably under the chin and the head just drops down on the chin rest. Many people today use inflatable or foam padded shoulder rests under their violin to bring it up a little more so they don't have to drop their head down so far. And if you want to do that, you can shop around and see if you like those. But the important thing is to be comfortable. The next thing to remember is that the left hand doesn't need to be cramped up. It needs to be comfortable. We have a shot here of the left hand from both sides in a playing position, and we're going to go to that so that you can see just what my left hand is doing. Notice that my thumb is not up here gripping the neck in a death grip, but down here. Actually, I can move my fingers and the violin is resting right in front of that knuckle in my thumb. And when I put my fingers down to play, my first finger, second finger, third finger, and fourth finger, they're curving over comfortably, not straight out on the neck. Keep it nice round position, almost as if you're gripping a ball in your hand, and relax. It's not easy to push the strings down. They're not soft, but you don't have to grip them real hard, just hard enough, and this comes in time. Also notice that my wrist is not bent outward or back inward. Don't support the neck or the violin with the palm of your hand. Come out, keep those ligaments and tendons in the back of your wrist good and straight so you won't develop any problems. When I'm not using my fourth finger, my hand is rolled out a little bit, but don't bring your hand out like this when you're not playing. Keep it rolled around in a comfortable position. Now, the strings, starting from lowest to highest, are G, D, A, and E. They are tuned in what we call fifths. There'll be more about that later, but you need to know that these notes would be the first and fifth note of a scale that started on that low string. Since the first musical letter after G is A, when you put your first finger down on the G string, that's an A note, and it should sound like this. G with a down bow, A with an up bow, G, A. I'm going to tell you a fingering for the whole musical scale of G, which starts on that open G string. It's going to go open, first finger, second finger, third finger. Then on the D string, open, first finger, second finger, third finger. The fingers are in the same location on each string, and the second and third finger are close together, whereas the first and second finger are not close together. And it sounds like this. We've all heard a major scale before. Back down. You can do this on the middle two strings, exact same finger position, and it's a D scale. Let's go back down. And of course that's legato bowing. Let's try the portato bowing on the A string and E string. Down, 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 down. Up, 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 up. Same thing. Going down the scale, down, 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 up, I know this is a lot to do, so I'm going to give you a little time to work on this. Vary your bow strokes. Watch the bow alignment. Even though this is the fingering part of the lesson, tone comes from the bow as well as the fingers. We'll be right back. How'd that go? That was a pretty big lesson, and I gave it to you as if you were getting it all. But I want to go back really and talk much more about where to put those fingers down. It's not easy to get them in the right place, and this exercise is a time-honored violin exercise to practice putting each individual finger down. We're going to go once again to this demonstration shot, and what you'll do is you'll go down bow on the D, and of course the next letter in the alphabet is E, first finger, but then back to D, E, you may not get it right every time, but this is practicing putting it down in the right place. In the violin, you don't usually have a lot of time to move, so you have to just develop a feel for where it is. After you get the first finger comfortable, go to just the open D and the F, in this case F sharp, which is the second note, the second finger note. Use a slur bowing and play both notes with one direction of the bow. Down, up. Try third finger. You see, that's that close finger, and you might put it too high. Now this next part is really fun. The next note of the scale is the next string over. So if you play both these notes, you're rocking back and forth between D and A. Try slur bowing. That's tough. Try the portato. Down, down, up. Try your various bowings with that. Practice putting those individual fingers down and listen. We'll be right back with the next lesson. We've worked on our G, our D, and our A scale, which is the same finger routine on the three double sets of strings, the G and D string, the D and A string, and the A and E. Now I'd like to show you a formal way of practicing the scale with what is called an arpeggio. Arpeggio is an Italian term which means nothing more than broken chord. When you play a G arpeggio, you're playing the notes of a G chord. To do that, you play the open string and then the second finger on that string, then the next open string and the third finger on that string. And to come down from where you got to, you start again on the third finger and then the open string, go to the lower string and play second finger and then open. Now I'll demonstrate what that sounds like. G scale, using a legato bowing. D string, down, open string, second finger on that string, next open string, third finger on that string. Faster. I'll do that at a moderately fast speed as you would practice it, and then we'll be back with the next lesson. How'd that work out? Scales and arpeggios take a lot of practice. You know how to do three of them now, G, D, and A. Now, we've talked about playing two strings at once, but I want to say a little something more about it now. When you put the bow down on one string, the bow can wobble a little bit and still play that string. But when you put it down on two strings, if you rock your bow a little bit, you're going to come up off one string or the other. So naturally, this is a good exercise for developing a steady right hand. Two strings. I'm out of tune. It sounds so good when you get two strings going like that. Practice all the sets of two. And now I want to mention one final thing about stopping or fingering the strings. You can play an open string and a fingered string so that one of the strings is open, the other is fingered, and make various chords. Chords in music are multi-note groups, and since you're playing on two strings, you can play two of however many notes there are in a chord. We're going to start with an open D string and a first finger on the A string, playing two strings at once. It sounds like this when it's in tune. Both strings open. First finger on the higher one. In violin playing, we play many double stops. Sometimes each string is being fingered, so there is no open string. This takes some practice, and it's beyond the scope of a beginner, but right here is where you start tuning one of the notes to an open string so that it has a good sound. We'll be right back.